What's up, guys? Mike Thomas, aka the Young Churchlet here. And you guys might have seen that recently Konami put out a ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and we're not doing too well. They took our Chaos Ruler, they took our Wyver Burster, and now the deck's not doing so hot. It was just a baby, bro. Like, it was just a baby. They hit our Wyver. What are we supposed to do now? Well, thankfully, that is the answer to today's video, because I have a new deck list for you guys, just ready to kick off the new year, kick off this new ban list. You already know that I've been cooking in the lab. I've been cooking this stuff up. You guys didn't get a New Year's video. Well, this is your New Year's video, because guess what? Deck isn't dead. But before we hop into that, I need you guys to do two things for me real quick, okay? Two things. One, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It really does help me out a lot. Two, I need you to go into the description down below, click on the little link for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Tracker, and go download that. It is very, very helpful. It is a very, very useful tool. It was made by the same people who made the deck trackers for Hearthstone, for Magic the Gathering Arena, for Marvel Snap. Very, very, very useful tool. Adds a lot of needed features into the game, such as like importing and exporting deck lists between friends, and also allowing you to track your stats in game so that you can see how you're doing and track your progress as a player, which is just something that is very, very useful if you're trying to learn the game and, you know, trying to test your skills. So very, very, very useful. Highly recommend, and it does help me out a lot. So if you do want a free and easy way to help me out, easy way to do it. So, but that's not what you're here to see. So let's hop in. I'll show you guys this deck list, because we are in the lab. We are in the lab. We are cooking, and this deck's actually pretty solid. So as usual, we're going to be going through. I'm going to be talking about the cards that you know, in the order that makes sense to me, because we can't sort our deck in Master Duel for some reason. Please add this feature, Konami. Thank you. So I'm going to start this off by talking about Black Metal Dragon. This is our normal summon now. If you weren't playing Black Metal before, you're playing it now, because this is the best normal summon that Dragon Link has. This card gets you 3 bodies for 1 summon, so pretty good investment trade. But also, Safer is not a good normal summon anymore. Like, Safer went from being like one of the best normal summons in Dragons to being pretty much unplayable. Like, the card's just like not good, because before you would go normal summon Safer, tribute it yourself, get collapse, special collapse, make your striker, search your Wyver, you know, you're off to the races. You're gaming. Now you tribute yourself, you get your collapse, you summon collapse, you make your striker, and then you start crying and sobbing into your lasagna because there's no Wyver Burster for you to search. So don't do that anymore. Like, don't try to do that. That's very, very, very sad, and nobody wants to see that. So we play Black Metal now, and to go along with Black Metal, you have to play the Red MD, because this is how you get your second body, but you also play the Meteor Dragon. And I know somebody's gonna comment it. It's like, oh, Trish doesn't know what he's talking about. He's playing the Meteor Brick, blah 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 blah. I get a comment like this every video. This card is good. Play this card, please play this card. It is actually necessary for the deck now, so please just trust me, play the card, and you guys will see why later. The card is good. So you play those 3. For the Rockets, you play the 2 Tracers, you play the Recharge, you play Caliber, and you play your Absol Router. We're not playing Synchron. If you're playing Synchron still, please take it out of your deck. Doesn't do anything for you anymore, because there's no Chaos Ruler, so there's nothing that you're really using it for, and you can't make Hot Red because you have no Chaos Ruler, so we're just not playing that card. Please do not put that card in your deck. Thank you. So moving on to the Bestials, we are playing our Bestial Magnemite, obviously, our 3 Sarnier, our Druis Worm, and our 3 Lubellion. This is not changed from before. This is pretty standard. But we are also playing 1 copy of Bestial Baldrake now. Why are we playing Baldrake? Well, if you're looking at the extra deck, you can see we're playing the Heretic King of the Tum. So we do want to be seeing some more level 6 bodies, because we want to go into a rank 6 monster. So I've included it just so that we have a slightly higher Bestial count. But also, it let me trade out the Nibiru, which was previously in the deck, as a way to punish Max C challenges. And this card still kind of fits the same role, where, you know, instead of having 3 bodies that you can use to block damage, you now have 4 bodies that you can use to block damage if they take a Max C challenge, while also still giving you an extra card to go into the Heretic King of the Tum with. So kind of filling a dual purpose there. And that's pretty much it for like the standard Dragon Link engine. So moving on to the one-ofs, we play the Levy, the Nocto, which is finally making a return to the deck. So if you haven't seen this card before, Nocto is a card that used to be very, very common in Dragon Link. And what it does is when a dark dragon monster is special summoned to your field, you can reveal it, special summon it to your field as well. And then when it is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can draw a card. So pretty decent card. We're only playing it at 1 though, because it is kind of searchable with Seifert Send Absaratter, as well as like Seifert Send Meteor if you summon it that way. I don't know why you would, but who knows? Maybe it'll come up. But like just the one of. Unfortunately, this card isn't as good as it is in the TCG. So in the TCG, this card helps you chain block very often because you can go Chainlink 1 Striker, Chainlink 2 Nocto, and you put it on the same chain. With how hand triggers work in the OCG and in Master Duel, you would go Chainlink 1 Striker, pass priority to the opponent, give them an opportunity to respond, then they pass priority back to you, or maybe they Ash Blossom your Striker or something, and then you can Nocto Vision effect. So it's not as good as it was in the TCG. Some interesting things that can come up with the Nocto because of that is that you might be able to bait people into ashing your Striker Dragon and then like surprise them with Nocto, or you might be able to bait like an Apollo activation and then like drop a Nocto on them afterwards. That's something that can happen now, but the real truth of it is that you can't just like cheat this card onto the board and, you know, by like chain blocking with the Striker. Like the downside is that you can go Striker effect, they're gonna ignore you with the Apollo, and then you go reveal Nocto, and then they just negate it. So unfortunately, it's probably not good enough to play 3 of like it was in the TCG at one point. But we're still testing stuff. Maybe we'll bump this up in future lists. Like I said, this is kind of a draft. But for right now, it's at 1. And then we play the 1 copy of Starlight Seifert. Seifert, unfortunately, is not a good normal summon anymore. So it's been knocked down to 1 because it really only has 1 role in the deck now. And that is to just add back Levy or add back Lubellion in a grind game. And that's pretty much all it does. It's just not as good. So unfortunately, it's kind of dropped down, but it's still worth playing because it can still like use its effect. Like if you find its way onto the field, you can still use it to like tribute a Lubellion, search Levy. You could use it to tribute an Absaratter, search Nocto. You could use it to, you know, I don't know, tribute Saranir and like search a Bestial. Like, so it still has plays, but it's just not the premier normal summon that it was previously. Something that I've seen floated around in the community is people suggesting that you cut Seifert altogether and play Samsara Dragon, because Samsara Dragon, kind of like Seifert, you can banish it from the grave to target any level 5 or higher dragon in your grave, add it to your hand, and then potentially you could like extra normal tribute it, which is something that like Dragoonity builds do sometimes, where they like tribute over your seals with like Mistletoe or something. But I don't really think that's worth it because it doesn't give you that like potential for the on-field effect that Seifert does. But maybe this is something you can play around with. Maybe you play both. Who knows? But just wanted to float that option for you guys. But that's it for like the main deck engine and the monsters. For the hand traps, it's just your maxi package. It's just 3 maxi, 3 Ash, and then the 2 Gammas. The Gammas obviously synergize with the Meteor engine, so they're still very good. But they're not as good as they were previously because you're not Seifert tributing yourself, and then they Ash you, and then you Gamma them, and you make Chaos Ruler, and then you just win. So this card is not as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty okay. So like, you still play it. And then for the hand trap, I already kind of talked about this, but we cut the nib for the Baldrake. If you're missing the nib, you can cut the Baldrake for the nib again. Simple substitution. Moving on to the rest of the deck, the spells and traps. I'm going to talk about I'm just going to quickly go over the cards that like have always been here, because if you're familiar with Dragon Link, you know what these cards are. If you're not familiar, you now know what they are. So you got Dragon Ravine, Boot Sector, 2 Quick Launch, Regained, 2 Called by, and Beast. Some people in the shorter lists, like in the 43 card lists or like tighter 40 lists, cut the Beast entirely. I think this card is too good to cut, so I still play it, but if you don't like it, you can cut it. Who cares? But I think this card's insane. Like, this card's very, very, very good. So, personally, I'd say don't cut it. But you might notice that something's missing from the usual suspects, and that is Chaos Space. Chaos Space is not here anymore. Chaos Space has gone from like the best card in the deck to like not worth playing. And let me talk about why. Before, Chaos Space had 3 good cards you could add. You could add Collapse Serpent if you had a light, which is 2 dragons. You could add Wyver Burster if you had a dark, which is 2 dragons. And if you already had everything, you could either optionally get Levy or the Lubellion. So like something that would happen a lot is like you would open, you know, Safer plus Chaos Space, and you would just go Safer into Collapse, and you would go Collapse into Striker, into Wyver, into, you know, Rom, whatever, and then you end up with another Collapse in your hand because you play 2/2 because you're very good with this deck, and then you go activate Chaos Space, pitch the Collapse, and then search your Lubellion, and then you get a draw card because you have a Wyver Burster or Collapse banished because, you know, those are the cards you started with, right? You can't do that anymore. So now Chaos Space says discard a card to add either Lubellion or Levianeer from your deck to your hand. And there's a couple other cards you can add. You can add Chaos Emperor Armageddon. Like you could add this guy. Theoretically, if you don't want Levy specifically. You could add like there's like a couple other cards that you can add, but like most of your targets are pretty bad. And it's just these guys. But the key thing is that none of them are getting you 2 monsters. It's only ever 1 monster. And on top of that too, it's also not setting up the draw by itself anymore. So you're discarding a card to search 1 card. So it's just straight up a neg 1 now, and you can recover that neg 1 later in the turn, but it's not guaranteed that you recover it because you don't have the babies and you don't have Chaos Ruler to manipulate your banish pile. So you have to use a Bestial to manipulate, and the only cards that you can really manipulate with to trigger it are Gamma, the Lubellion that you're searching, which you don't want to banish, and the Levianeer, which theoretically would be in your hand. So Chaos Space just is not very good anymore. So we cut it. But we're now playing a similar card, which is 1-for-1. Because 1-for-1 is now strictly better than Chaos Space. And previously, I didn't like 1-for-1 because it was worse than Chaos Space. And now that role is reversed. And this feels very weird. But this is, you know, this is your spell extender now. Like, this is your spell starter. And it just kind of hurts. You can still experiment with Chaos Space. I might experiment with putting it back in, but I really don't think it's worth it. At least not in this build of Dragon Link. Like in like a standard 40 card build, I just don't think it's worth it. And then for the last card that you guys might not be familiar with, another new card that's in the deck is World Legacy Guard Dragon. And I call this a new card probably because a lot of people who have picked up Dragon Link recently have probably not seen this card before because it hasn't been played in Dragon Link like actively in at least 3 years, almost going on 4 now because we're in 2024. And this card was mainly used in 2019 through 2020. And this card used to be like mandatory in Dragon Link, right? Because when we had LP and when we had Halki Fibrax, like any tuner plus this was lethal through Nibiru guaranteed. But it's just not that anymore. So it's still good though. So, and I've prepared a demonstration for you guys. We've practiced this a few times with my Twitch chat, and I'm ready to explain this to you guys. So we're going to switch over here real quick. And as you can see, we have a blank canvas in MS Paint, and I am going to explain to you how, what Dragon Link is. So our which I'm sure you were expecting. So what is the goal of Dragon Link, right? Well, it's to summon Pisty. And how do you summon Pisty? You count to 4. And that might not make sense to you, but let me explain. So Pisty, which here I will jankily pull up Master Duel. Pisty reads: you cannot summon monsters except dragon monsters during your main phase. You can target one of your dragon monsters as banished in your graveyard, special summon it to a zone that 2 or more link monsters point to, right? So this card is effectively a link 4 monster that says special summon a dragon from your banished or graveyard, because the only ways that you're resolving this is if you have a link 2 that points this way and this way. And then you have your Pisty, which is a 1. I'll make that like a weird one. That looks like IP. Okay, we're just gonna say we have 1 and we have 1. We have 2 Link 1 monsters, and they point. No, I'm very bad at drawing. All the practice was for nothing. We have 2 Link 1 monsters that point this way, right? And you count this and it says 2 + 1 + 1, that's 4, right? The other way you do it is with Triple Burst, which is a 3, which points down. And then you have your Pisty, which is a 1 that points this way. And that's 3 + 1 is 4. So no matter how you look at it, you're counting to 4. And this was really easy before because Tracer counts as 2, right? Tracer counts as 2 because it summons itself plus Recharger. So that is 2. And then previously, you were usually playing with the babies, right? Because you would have Safer or Chaos Space, or just hard drawing your babies. And that was also 2 because you had 2 babies. So this is Wyver and Black, or Collapse. I like WB because it reminds me of Warner Brothers. So what's 2 + 2? That's 4, right? So, but now they've killed one of our babies. So now we only have 1. 2 + 1 is not 4. That's not 4. That's very bad for us, right? So we have to find ways to count to 4. Well, World Legacy Guard Dragon. Let's jankily pull this back up. World Legacy Guard Dragon, what does this do? When it's activated, you target 1 level 4 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand, which can sometimes come up, not gonna lie, or you special summon it, right? So this is 1. This card counts as 1. But wait, it has another effect. It says once per turn, you can target 1 dragon monster you control, move that monster you control to another one of your main monster zones. Huh. Because now we can resolve Pisty with 2, 0, 1. Well, but wait, that's not 4, that's 3. So, when explained this way, you can kind of look at World Legacy Guard Dragon as being 2 dragons. So this allows you to count to your 4. It allows you to do what we were doing before with Dragon Link in kind of the same way. So it still allows you to count to 4 in the same, like in a similar way, and let you resolve your Pisty, which gets you into your Borderland. So this card is actually really, really, really useful when you lose the babies. So this is kind of what I'm thinking that we do moving forward is, so instead of counting to 4, we're opting when we draw this card to count to 3. Now there are problems with this card that can come up, which is that if you don't have a normal summon, it doesn't do much of anything. But, you know, if you don't have a normal summon in Dragon Link, you're probably not playing anyway. So I think that problem is not, you know, that important. But it does have some marginal like disadvantages over the babies did, where it's not a monster, it's not a light or a dark. You know, we can't synergize it with Chaos Space. You don't really want to draw multiples of them, you know, in any context. Whereas sometimes drawing white plus black was okay. So it has its downsides, but I think this card overall is pretty solid, and I think it's worth testing because this will allow you to consistently get into your boards and allow you to still play in combo and like still do stuff that people don't really think that you can do anymore. So this card's definitely worth playing. Moving on to, so now that little seminar, that counting to 4 lesson is over, we can just go easily into the extra deck and we can talk about kind of the future and the direction of where I think the deck is going from there. So extra deck's pretty much the same. It's Savage, Baron, and Dispatter. Baron, you know, if you're playing the 40 list, still in the deck. But if you've seen some of my other videos, this wasn't being played because we were playing some more explosive versions of dragons that didn't have space for it, but it is back in this build. Dispatter, obviously. And then this is the new inclusion, is the Heretic King of Atum. You might have seen, if you had seen me play or talk about my DC Cup run, kind of later into the run, I slotted this in just as ways to play around Imperm. So this card does let you do some cool stuff through Imperm, but also there are some really cool plays with Black Metal Dragon when you run the Meteor that allow you to basically just get everything with the Dragon Link deck. It just gives you the full combo as long as this is in your extra deck. So if you open Black Metal plus Lubellion, and I posted a combo tutorial for this for the TCG, which would apply to the Master Duel as well. But I you know, let me know in the comments. I'll do it again for Master Duel. I'll show you guys how to do it just to prove that, you know, you can do it. But if you open these two cards in combination, you should be ending on Seals, Borland, Dispatter, Savage, and like Beast, and I think sometimes regains. Don't quote me on the regains, but you get everything, right? But the caveat is that you have to run a Tom and you have to run Meteor. So that's something for you to keep in mind. But the payoff is definitely there, so this card's definitely worth it. Also, this card can just come up and get you out of sticky situations sometimes when you're not doing YouTube combos, so it's still worth playing. Then for the rest of the extra deck, nothing's changed. It's just Pisty, Double Striker, Seals, Romulus, IP, Dark Charmer, Triple Burst, Unicorn, Access Code, and Borland. All, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where the deck is at. But here's the thing. Here I'm gonna come to face view and to level with you guys, because here's the here's the thing with dragons. The deck is still fine when you go first. Like, I think a lot of you guys are gonna figure out that pretty quickly that the deck is still actually very playable when you go first. You know, I've played a lot of games just like, you know, off stream, just testing with the post Banlist stuff, and I'm just still consistently ending on like the same imports as before, right? The problem now is when you go second. The white and black were very, very useful because they weren't always telegraphed, so your opponent didn't know, you know, that you had them, so like you could special two bodies out of nowhere. Also the fact that they generated a lot of card advantage for you, which was really important, and when you go second, that can be very, very important for playing through boards. Also the fact they let you chain block around stuff, so you could use them to force effects that you wanted through while playing around disruptions, right? Like, so if your opponent has like an Apollo, that's like a common example I like to use, you could special summon the Wyver Burster or something, and then go, you know, Wyver 1, Striker 2, and then no matter what they negate, you know, you're still getting a second body on the field. You do the same thing with Romulus, and like you can trade your Boot Sector for Dragon Ravine plus a Link 2. You can't really do that anymore in the same way that you can. Like, you can when you open stuff like Black Metal to some extent, but then, you know, the Red MD kind of becomes a choke point, right? You know, Apollo is maybe a bad example because obviously the Red MD could beat over it, but into stuff like Savage or Baron, you know, it gets a lot worse. So we're definitely hurting on that front. So that's kind of where the deck is. That's part of why we're playing more Bestials too, is you just want more cards that you can use to try and push when you go second. But Dragon, and like, that sounds bad, but then you gotta remember that like all of the top decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel kind of lose to Bestials. Like, you got your Mathmechs, which are probably the best deck in Master Duel after the ban list. Mathmech gets farmed by Bestials. Branded Despia, that deck does not like getting Bestial. You have your Labyrinths, that deck hates getting Bestial. Like, those in my mind are the top three. You know, you got decks like Super Heavy Samurai, which are probably coming out pretty soon because we just saw the ban list. They banned a Super Heavy Samurai card. Pretty telling that we're going to get Super Heavy Samurai cards. I don't think that deck's going to be as scary as people are expecting, because the deck can't beat Maxi. Like, the deck can only play 3 Ash Blossoms to deal with Maxi, so I think it's going to be a little bit rougher than I think some people are expecting. So I don't expect that deck to be as scary, but like, you know, all these decks get farmed by Bestials, right? So when you go second, you're going to have a lot of targets. You're going to be able to put bodies on the field. So I think that the deck is still in a pretty good position, right? It's not the dominant force that it was before, but it does still match up into a lot of the top decks that Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel until we get like the fire format with like Rescue Ace, SP, you know, bonfires and stuff like that. Like, so Dragon Link still got a ways. Like it still got promise in Master Duel, but it's not just that. We're talking about the 40 card list right now. We're talking about 40 card Dragon Link. But you know I love my piles. You guys saw the Adventure Dragon Link piles. that I did very well with in both the DC Cup and in the MCS 5K tournament. Won $1,000 with that deck, so pretty good. If we come back into Master Duel, you guys can see right here, we have a deck that says Insane New Dragon Link. That's not the deck list I showed you guys just now. This is the deck list I just showed you guys. This is a pretty normal Dragon Link deck. This one isn't. So I have a proposition for you guys. You guys get this video to 300 likes. I will not only show you guys the new deck list, but I will also show you guys some replays of this deck, because you guys might think that I'm crazy when I show you this deck list, because my Twitch chat has been flaming me for a while. They've been flaming me about this deck list for a little bit, but this deck is absolutely crazy. Like, you are just opening God hands every hand. So I'm willing to show you guys that deck list, because I think that deck is really solid. I think it's really solid. And it takes advantage of some of the new stuff that we are going to be getting, and I'm really excited for it. So if you want to see some kind of like off the wall stuff that I'm very excited for, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, because that's gonna be coming out pretty soon. But I've taken up enough of your time for now. Dragon Link not dead. We're gonna cope forever. So I'll see you guys in the next video.